I will speak very specifically about the area of women with mental illness. The amount of violence, not just gender violence, but violence that they're subjected to in terms of their visibility in not just both public and private space. They get uh, they are subject to a lot of violence at home. Oftentimes, the people who land at the Banyan have moved out of home in a fugue, so they're not even too sure where home is or where they are from. So the violence is not restricted to a public space. It starts in the private space, maybe, but goes on to public spaces. And in public spaces, then, like one of the panelists mentioned, they're always free game for anybody. So it is the one of the very critical issues is their safety and their uh, their treating their issues of physical health and then also mental health. And in terms of other spaces, other people who occupy that space, the gender violence, one of the biggest issues is what is under the space which they have to use as a part of their daily lives. For instance, the violence that they're subjected to in the young girls in traveling to school in a bus, or for for that matter, even for young boys. It's not only girls, but at this point, since we're looking at women and gender violence, then the subject of they're subjected to just violence for being girls and being on that transport or on the road. So one of the critical issues is, of course, safety. But the solution to safety is not to say don't be on that bus, don't get on that road. The making that place safe enough, which then goes way back into an issue of the concepts and ideas that children grow up with in terms of the gender norms, acceptability, areas like that. Key building blocks for the future is, as is being discussed, both the practitioners and from the theoreticians or the academicians, to understand the concept, to understand the processes, to understand the drivers, to understand the triggers, and then move on to making them more public, which basically what I mean is to increase awareness, to start teaching early enough as to what is acceptable, what is unacceptable within the family, start with norms. When discrimination starts in the house between the daughter and the son, then the message which is given across to this child is loud and clear. Whether it's in terms of food, it's in terms of the kind of work that is allocated, the kind of priorities in that child's life. So one of the building blocks would be to work with children and awareness building. The other is to address the issue of gender violence, especially domestic violence. There are very few organizations which are working in this area, and there is a tremendous amount of guilt and shame attached to it, and the shame is generally on the part of the woman, and she is held responsible for whatever is happening, so that at some point then it gets even internalized. So can we address those issues? Again, relating it to mental health, there is the whole feeling of shame and wanting to hide when there's a mental illness in the family for various reasons, social, economic. So can we also look at bringing this out into the open and being able to discuss it in fora, being able to talk about the unacceptability of a lot of this behavior. So, and of course, at the policy level, there's a lot more to be done. Fortunately, it is today being recognized as an issue, and more people are prepared to talk about their experiences and to share their experiences and to also take action parallelly along with. But it takes a long time for them to come out with this.